I just wanted to show you the context of disinformation. Okay, this is by the state's attorney's office. Statement of facts after I got convicted on October 12th, 1989 at 3028 West 38th Street. The defendant grabbed the victim and threw her to the ground. The victim struck her head and collar on the ground. The victim's collarbone was fractured, as she also suffered a head contusion and suffered a stroke. Based on the defendant criminal history and the seriousness of the offense, the people oppose the consideration of early release. His prior criminal history includes a 1979 conviction of attempted murder in which he was sentenced to 10 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections, in which that's false. As far as her injuries, a contusion, yes, she had a contusion. Suffered a stroke, no. Victim struck her head and collarbone. Collarbone was fractured. She did have a fracture. In the discharge summary, it said she had a fractured left collarbone and hemorrhoids. That's what she was treated for. Okay, this is the Minimus Papers, which I fought dearly in 79 because I was charged multiple times for the same crime, for a crime I didn't commit. That was a wrongful conviction. Both of these are wrongful convictions, and I'm trying to overturn. But the Minimus Papers I gave to the attorney, the attorneys that were supposed to be representing me, the defective, destructive assistance of counsel. But anyways, I'd been carrying this around since it happened, and my argument was it violated the double jeopardy clause, because the third part of the double jeopardy clause, there's three parts of the third part. You can't convict or try somebody multiple times for the same crime, but they did it anyways, and they used it as a ruse to get me to take a plea deal. Here's a plea deal. You don't take that, we're going to throw more crimes at you. And every time I refused the plea deal, they threw more crimes at me, and thus giving me more time. And the judge didn't want witnesses. There was over 100 witnesses, and they brought only 6, and the only 6 that identified me, and only one could actually identify me. And they didn't even have her testify in court. Okay, so that's from the Minimus Papers. So they use that erroneous information because the judge in the trial, in the transcripts, I have the transcripts, she said that she's forced to give me time because I had just gotten out of prison. I had just finished a 10-year sentence, which was totally wrong. I mean, number one, if I had gotten a 10-year sentence, her being a judge would know to get day for a day, so it would basically be a 5-year sentence, and maybe serve 3.5, 4 years. But she's a dingbat because I did not serve 10 years. Okay, so over here, I had to correct a record because they said it wasn't in their records, the Minimus Papers. So look here. This is while I was in prison. Mr. Casares states that he appealed his conviction for his arrest by the Chicago Police Department on August 8, 1978. The appellate court dismissed charges for violations of the Illinois Revised Status, Chapter 38, Paragraph 2, attempted murder, and Paragraph 12.8, aggravated battery. The court remanded counts of violations of the Illinois Revised Statutes, Chapter 18, Paragraph 38.2, armed violence, back to trial court on October 28, 1980. Trial court sentenced him to 2 counts. October 28, 1980, trial court sentenced him on 2 counts, 6 years to the Illinois Department of Corrections. Mr. Casares' criminal history record has been updated accordingly. But because according to the lawyers that were supposedly working for me, the state's attorney and the judge, it wasn't on the official record. So they couldn't go by the minimus papers, which was issued by the court. So the judge gave me time, which at most, if I was guilty and I had that would have got probation. And I want to go through the exculpatory evidence, a lot of exculpatory evidence that I have. But they will do anything and everything to make anybody and everybody look guilty. If you don't have your weight in gold, you get sold into a life of indentured servitude. All right, the scales of justice are on a monetary scale, and you don't have a shot unless you do your best to learn as much as I did, or go to law school and become a lawyer. You won't have a shot, all right, because of your ignorance of the law, and that's what they use against you. And granted, I wasn't ignorant of the law, but if you've been in a court of law, lawyers and judges don't care about the law. Like I said, if you don't have the gold, you get sold into a life of indentured servitude. Justice is on a monetary scale. That's defying the oath. Defying the oath is deprivation of rights, specifically deprivation of rights under the color of law, which is violating federal law. Okay, but like I said, I've been at this a long time. You can see I go back to a case in 78, 79. And it took them over 10 years, almost a dozen years, to correct the record. Talk about, I don't know, you come up with the words. You tell me. Fighting two wrongful convictions forever. And when I go through the exculpatory evidence, you'll be amazed at the evidence, the witnesses withheld. The judge broke it down to he said, she said. It was my word against hers. The presumption of innocence was null and void from the very start, from the very arrest. The presumption of guilt prevailed, and I was assumed guilty and had to prove myself innocent. But the lack of disclosure, that's violating. There's a disclosure law. They wouldn't give me anything. When I demanded discovery, I couldn't even get the court transcripts from the clerk's office. That's between you and your lawyer. No, that's between me and the whole judicial system. It's everybody's job to see to it. There's a disclosure law, so it's mandatory for everybody in that court of law to see to it that I get discovery. But I was denied by everybody, the lawyers, the judge, the clerks, the courts in its entirety. But I'm digging my way out, and I'm using the law, and I'm doing my best to teach you what to do and what to expect. If you're just getting started out, you should know how it's going to end. So before it ends, stop by and see me. Watch my videos. I explain to you a lot of stuff you can use to fight your way out of it. You don't have a chance. You don't have a chance because of your ignorance of the law, and they will tell you ignorance of the law is not a valid defense in a court of law. So use that against them. They went to law school to learn all this, and they ain't doing it. Okay, there's a lot of stuff I'm showing you that not being done that needs to be, and the stuff that needs to be done isn't. All right, thank you. Just wanted to show you how the system works, or how it doesn't work. It's not working, and this is why it's not working, because nobody's doing their job. Nobody's living up to the oath. Nobody's living up to the requirements of that oath. And the oath, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance, requires all to put our loyalty to we the people, who the Declaration and the United States Constitution was dedicated to serve and protect we the people. The needs of the many, not the needs of a few. Good night, everybody. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you a long life and good health. May your future be filled with nothing but peace and happiness. Peace and happiness. Good night, y'all.